First, the player is a former Big Daddy. He is a prototype from the original line of Big Daddies, each of whom were bonded to a single little sister. And for some reason, a mysterious reason, he has been awakened. His free will has been restored at the beginning of the player's control of him. And he is crossing the city, wondering what has happened in the last 10 years, sort of a man out of time, trying to find his former little sister. She's the only one who gives him any kind of meaning in this world, and she's the only thing that he believes hasn't changed. And so he's pursuing her and comes into conflict with Sophia Lamb as a result. One of the many thematic goals of Bioshock 2 has to do with sort of Rapture from a child's eye view. And so I'll start with Ryan Amusements. Ryan Amusements is a theme park designed entirely to brainwash children. Rapture is a secret, and they can't really have kids that are born there wanting to see Ireland, you know. So they have to scare those kids out of ever visiting the surface. And so you basically walk around through one of Andrew Ryan's terrifying propaganda messages, live in a kind of, House of Horrors kind of style.
So, but the parasites say no. What was yours is ours. We are the state. We are gone. We demand our share.
From there, the player learns about the adoption mechanic and finds, a little sister wandering around through Ryan Amusements, and that's where he kind of understands how he adopts the little sister and uses her to gather Adam to grow his character. Much later, Siren Alley is where Andrew Ryan's ideas have kind of been left behind because he's dead now, and Sophia Lamb is on the rise. Sophia Lamb has taken over the city and has got a kind of underground church built there. And so Siren Alley's themes, because it's the red light district, are kind of about what happens when people lose hope and the kind of faith that they end up turning to and how that can be manipulated. Ultimately, Sophia Lamb is an altruist, and her philosophy, when it turns sour, is very grim. It makes martyrs. So Siren Alley is kind of about that. There are new little sisters being made, and they need somebody to protect them. And so Sophia Lamb's people have begun creating new Big Daddies as well. One of which is the Rumbler. One of the things that I felt had the most potential for expansion in the first game was the relationship between the Big Daddies and the Little Sisters. On the one hand, they're video game characters. You decide what to do about them in order to grow your character, and the choices you make affect the outcome and your options as a player. But I felt that there was something very primal about these two characters, and that we could spin that in a very broad way into a sort of thematic message carrying from the first game about family. It's not didactic in the sense that I'm not going to tell you guys what to think about the game. Our themes are very participatory, but family is an important sort of internal touchstone that we have managed to I think, convey with the actual mechanics. Bioshock, we very much wanted the story to live in the actions as well. And so, as a Big Daddy, the Little Sisters are not just, they don't regard you as strangers, they regard you as family. And the choice that you're making with them is not just whether to deal with them now or deal with them in a different way. It's to how much of their trust that you're willing to either make good on or exploit. So the player can either pick up the little sister and adopt her, at which point he can then gather Adam from around the world, playing into that trust the whole time, and then again he can decide whether to harvest or rescue her. Or if he doesn't feel like it at the time, he can just deal with her on the spot. We feel like that changing the moral context of those choices has some power, and it definitely affects the story's outcome. All the choices that the player makes in the game, because we are trying to celebrate the player's free will this time around, affect the story's outcome.